Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Another day in the books as Alabama wraps up their second scrimmage this past Saturday. We'll break that down. We'll see what Coach had to say. We'll get your thoughts on it as well. And you can always get in on the conversation right here on the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. We'd love to hear from you. 205-342-9904. That's the Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions hotline. And you can also add your thoughts, your comments, your reactions into the conversation by just posting them in chat. Good morning, Bam Bam 72. He's already up and at 'em with us this morning. So we welcome him into the program, and we welcome you into the program as well. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Also, shout out to Blind Squirrel Sport this morning. Good morning, Bama. Bro, I don't know if I can say good morning, Georgia, bro. Just like I couldn't say go dogs the whole time my daughter was over there. So, but anyway, morning to him. Good morning, Curtis Moore II, Tim Richardson. Morning to you as well. Guys and the crew jumping in over there on the social media side of things. We welcome you in as well. So, lots to get to. Some good, some bad, some ugly, I guess, from the scrimmage, if we want to break it down that way. It wasn't mentioned in the post-scrimmage press conference, but it was mentioned, in the media, big news regarding Jam Miller. So want to get your thoughts on how does that make you feel about Alabama going into week one? Jam Miller was a big part of why I felt really good about Alabama in this season. But him being out, it gives an opportunity for the next man up. And who is the next man up when it comes to, Jam being out? At least it sounds like until the Georgia game. Will that be a good thing that he's coming back fresh for the Georgia game, not having played? Who won the day? Was it a defensive scrimmage, or was it another offensive win? So we can talk about who won the day of the scrimmage. Let's see what else did I have? Coach was asking about the DBs, and we'll get his thoughts there. But there was some interesting news from the scrimmage regarding DBs that wasn't really talked about. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't. I'll break that down or share that with you here in a moment. Also, Greg. Hey, good morning, Greg Strickland jumping in. Want to give him a shout out as well. So, hey guys, when you check in, start letting me know where you're checking in from, so we can shout out where we're connected to and what communities. We're gonna have Kennington Smith III join us here in the second quarter, so he'll be here to help break things down as well. So before I get into the Alabama conversation, what? Hey Chase, did you see what the Eagles did again? Did you see the news from the weekend?
I heard a little something about that.
I mean, it's funny. You're not old enough to remember it, but this reminds me of the Dolphins back in the day when they had, but it wasn't this many. But they used to have a lot of Alabama guys on their team down at the Dolphins. And in part that kind of makes sense because they also, I don't know if you know this, Coach Bryant, before he went on this unbelievable run here at Alabama, before he established himself as the GOAT of that time, had accepted the Miami Dolphins job. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. Coach Bryant had accepted the job and was going to leave and then came back. I think it may have been like the next day came back and asked the president at that time, could he get his job back? So he ended up not going to the Dolphins. But undoubtedly the owners of the Dolphins, Shula, there wouldn't have been a Don Shula had Coach Bryant left. And so they loved the players. And undoubtedly that's how the Eagles feel about Coach Saban. And I say Coach Saban, and I guess I can give Kirby credit, but it's that Coach Saban in Kirby effect. So offensively, they have Alabama players, and defensively, they have Georgia players, the Eagles. It's working out pretty good for them. Their general manager used to actually work in the SEC, and I think he worked at Florida, and a Florida guy. So he is without a doubt recognizing how great the SEC can be. So kudos to the Eagles. As you're wondering what I'm talking about, John Mechie has now partnered up with Alabama's quarterback and wide receiver room, Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. I think they have like half of the guys who were starters on the Alabama's national championship team that year. So kudos to them. As we move forward, we'll keep bringing on. I mentioned about Jam Miller, so we're going to get to that conversation. Tim Richardson said bringing in Dre Washington for reasons like this season will be long and we'll need as many backs as possible. So, yep, we'll talk about that Jam Miller thing. Very, very unfortunate there. Blind Squirrel Sport also commenting on Philly keep adding to the Georgia-Bama All-Star team. So kudos to them. So, oh man, Bam Bam 72 will break down what he had to say as well. All right, I think we may have had a couple calls before we get Kennington. Let's go ahead and get Pat in on the Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions Hotline. What's on your mind, Pat?
Hey, I'll give you a chance to chew on my butt this morning. Coach Saban said, if you pay the wrong people, you might mess up. Running back left Alabama, great running back left Alabama. And Justice Haynes might need Justice Haynes. Hey, what I want to talk about
Pat, Justice Haynes may go to Michigan and be great. Justice Haynes sold out on his team last year. Kudos to Justice Haynes. Wish him the best at Michigan. He may go on to be great, but I can tell you that he shorted his Bama Bros last year because they came after him maybe before the season last year, and he was saving himself. That's why he didn't have a great season. That's why he didn't have a great
I was unaware of this. I was unaware of this because he started the season off like a house of fire.
Yeah, he started off the house of fire, and then he did what, Pat? And then he did what? After a couple games, what did he do the rest of the year, Pat?
Didn't look so good.
Why?
But I don't know why.
You think he lost his
Like I
talent?
said,
You think he lost his
like
talent?
I said, you might be right. He might have been taken. If he was, James Kate.
Let me ask you this, Pat. Did he lose his talent?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
No, he didn't lose his talent, Pat. Did you ever hear about him being injured? No. Do you think this coaching staff didn't want to use a big-time running back more? No. I think
I don't know about
he showed enough. He showed enough to get enough, and I think that was part of it. Anyway.
Well, hey, but I want to talk about
good luck. He's up there. He's up there with that team that's on probation, right?
Yeah. I want to know about a 252-pound running back. Is he going to be able to show us something? Is he fast enough to play in the SEC?
You're talking about Daniel
Mr. Hill.
Yeah, I
yes,
think
sir.
Daniel Hill, I think it's now his job, Pat, without a doubt. I think it's his job to lose. But, and I'm going to ask Kennington about this. The most surprising thing for me, Pat, is how Richard Young, who you would have assumed would have been the one pushing Jam Miller for the starting job, he never even gets mentioned.
All I know is, again, that was one of that. He was a 5-star coming out of high school, and we're going to see. Hey, I would think that Young's going to be the number 2 back. He'll be the number 1 back now.
No,
and that Hill will be behind him. We'll see.
Nope. Hill has been the guy running. From what I understand, Pat, Hill is the number 1 back now.
Okay.
And Dre Washington is the number 2 guy.
Oh, wow.
And Young.
Okay, where's A.K. Gear falling in the pecking order?
Rising. Just keep your eyes on him. Deere is probably the most gifted of the backs, Pat. He just has time. But you want me to tell you why? And I'm gonna have to get the break after this, Pat. But Pat, you know why I think A.K. Deere with this may be something that gets him tossed in there sooner than we thought. And then if he shows what he can do, that red shirt may come off. But here's why I think that's the case, Pat. Rub said, I don't like to mention young guys. But he was just talking about the running back room, and before he knew it, he was talking about A.K. Deere. So that tells me that the young man's doing something right.
Okay. All I know is I saw Daniel Hill without his shirt on, and he's a specimen.
He's a full-grown man, and I think I think he's going to be good. I think it may be a little different than what we were going to get with Jam, but I think it can be very good for the offense. We'll talk more about that on the other side. Hey, that's Pat.
Have a blessed day, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's Pat. You can do the same thing he did. Call us up on the Empowerment Leadership and People Solutions hotline, or add your thoughts, comments, and reactions over on the live stream chat. We'll be back in just a moment to keep the conversation rolling.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you and happy Monday. Getting off to a nice and quiet start as we typically do. Not seeing any heavy delays on Lurleen Wallace right now at the McFarland intersection. That's running smoothly. Also 2059 wide open and green for go between McFarland and Joe Malisham. And looking good on 15th Street right now. It travels nice and smooth in between McFarland and Lurleen Wallace. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Accidents happen, and when they do, make sure you've got the right person in your corner. If you've been in a wreck with a vehicle that has a logo on it, you've got to call Stephen Mesrano at 205-800-8000. Mesrano has won cases that have changed laws in Alabama, and Mesrano has secured large verdicts and settlements for his clients. Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
August is your time to shine at Pearl River Resort. Ignite your weekend on Fridays and Saturdays and join us for our Summer Sizzler Plinko game event. Each hour, one lucky player will drop the puck to win a hot bonus bet prize or up to $2,500 in cash. Feel the thrill and play to win. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos. Must be 21 or older to play.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Let me tell you about this new Pretzel Cheddar Club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly sunny and hot today with only a few isolated storms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 96, the low tonight 74. Tomorrow morning sunshine, a few spots could see an afternoon shower or storm. The high 94. I'm James Spann with the Alabama Weather Network on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We are live, local, ready to get things rolling. And Curtis Moore II asking, will X be back before kickoff? Hopefully he's going to be back later this week. So looking forward to getting him back on with me and with us. So hopefully we'll be able to have him back here pretty soon. So in the meantime, we have guests like Kennedy Smith III, who join us every Monday to help close that gap. Let's go ahead and get a few thoughts from our head coach, opening comments from yesterday's scrimmage. Here's Coach DeBoer.
Yeah, you bet. Good scrimmage. Got some good heat out there. That was probably one of the best things we got out of it today. Was one of the warmer days, and saw that all week brewing, and so took advantage of it. It's been actually too nice on campus, especially in the morning. But good day that way, and it's gonna be 2 weeks from today at this time we'll be playing. So talk to the guys about that a little bit, but. Probably a lot like the first scrimmage. Offense did some nice things early. Has to do a better job of sustaining it, and the defense doing a good job of responding. That's really general, but that's kind of how the scrimmage went. So got a lot of red zone work in at the end, slowly building up, and got some reps on that. Tuesdays and Thursdays practice was really good from some live action. So from Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, and again today, we've got a lot of tackling in, a lot of work. Full pads, and so I like just kind of the stamina we've had that way, and just how much tackling we've had. So, questions?
All right. Good morning, Kennington. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, Coach. Coach, in those opening comments, a couple of things I'd like to get your response to. Then respond to the scrimmage overall. But first of all, talking about the heat, because it's been really nice in Tuscaloosa relative to the heat up until last week. And it matters. Yesterday, it's kind of funny. I was talking about the whole it was a sermon message about how the summer is our time of testing for perseverance, and perseverance maturing us. And I use the heat as an example of how if you're used to playing in the heat and then you bring somebody in that's not used to playing in that heat, like the bowl games used to be where the cold teams came down south and they hated it. And now the northern teams are really excited because they get that first round of games on campus and we're not used to playing in the cold. Right. I thought that was neat that, a lot of times we don't think about that. And this summer, we hadn't had to do this thing a lot in this type of heat, especially with the fact that they practice early. And so I thought it was good to hear that they had a great response, first and foremost, to the heat this past week. And then the second thing to get your response to, Kennington, is him talking about the physicality and the tackling, something you don't hear a lot of. A lot of people have gone to that NFL model where guys don't tackle. They don't take people to the ground. What are your thoughts about that in Alabama in their second scrimmage?
Yeah, I think those are both two great points. On the tackling point, as you know, Alabama was not a great tackling team last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could make the case that they weren't a particularly physical team last year, especially, defensively. We're talking about stopping the run. So I think that was really important. I think that's the really key emphasis, and it's good to hear that the physicality part is ramping up. I think the weather point is very underrated, especially when you think about what happened at the Oklahoma game last season, right? Like, they come out at Oklahoma in November. It was like in the low 60s. It was pretty chilly. But, like, the whole team comes out in sleeves, and you kind of, like, you're looking at it like you kind of question the mental part of it, the toughness part of it. You're seeing, like, the whole team coming out in sleeves. It's like in the low 60s. Then Alabama got pushed around in that game. So it's kind of like a compounding point, right? The weather affecting the team, and then the physicality point. So I think that those are both two very important points. And also considering the fact that it's going to be hot in Tallahassee, right? It's going to be like 4 o'clock on Saturday. It's going to be muggy. It's going to be humid. So can the team, persevere through that at Florida State in a game that, could potentially be somewhat of a rock fight? So two very good points, I think, by DeBoer, and I think you illustrated those well. It's good to hear that there was, again, more good, give and take in the scrimmage, and the offense did well, the defense did well. I think that's what you want to see. So by all accounts, it seems like Alabama is trending in the right direction.
Yeah. Hey, could I give you a quick sidebar before we get deeper into the Alabama thing? Respond quickly to the Eagles getting yet another former Alabama All-Star.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. It's like everybody's like the Eagles have kind of like rebranded themselves as like the Georgia team in a lot of people's minds. So they actually have a few more Alabama players than Georgia players, but I think they have like close to 20 combined. So I know that people are calling them the Philadelphia Crimson Dogs and whatever, nickname that you want to give them. But Howie Roseman, I mean, he's got the formula, right? Alabama on offense, Georgia on defense. And, the Eagles are off and rolling. So I thought it was a fantastic get. John Mechie, I think, is a really underrated player. I think he's going to fit in perfectly with their offense and, adding more winning pedigree, more SEC players, more Alabama players to what they have going on. You could definitely see it.
It's fair to say that the most common.
Go ahead, Kennington.
Hello? Okay, yeah. No, I was just saying, continuing to add to that culture, that chemistry is really important. I think that Mechie's going to be a good piece for them.
Absolutely. I figured you'd have some response there. Being you kind of a Blind Squirrel, he prefers Philly dog, but he is a Georgia guy, so of course he would. But no, I thought that was interesting, and they're not getting dogs. When I say, if I could say that, they're not getting dogs over there, and they're getting these Alabama guys either. They're getting some serious guys, right? So,
yeah,
hey, go ahead. What were we about to say?
No, I was just agreeing with you, and this is going to be crazy to see like Mechie and Devontae and Hurts and Landon Dickinson and all those guys together again.
Yeah. Next question, man. How big a hit is the Jam Miller? Injury?
Yeah, I think it's actually somewhat significant, and I think that in some ways Jam Miller's gotten a little bit of a bad rap just because people see him as somebody who might not be able to get any better, or he has a defined floor, or the running game hasn't been, I guess, great the last couple of years. But when you think about, especially the first game of the season, I mean, you're going into an environment where Florida State thinks that they can win that game. Maybe Alabama fans don't think that they can win, but in Florida State's mind and the fans' mind, that's going to be a hostile atmosphere. And you're going in there, and your perceived top two running backs after Jam Miller are two guys who just have not played a lot. I don't think Daniel Hill has any career carries. Richard Young has very few in garbage times. Maybe Traylon Washington gets some work, but I think this is like fairly concerning. When you compound out the fact that Jaden Roberts, we don't really know what's going on with his health either. That run game in that type of environment, you're going to need to lean on that to quiet that crowd. I think it's a little bit more concerning than maybe what some people led on. I have a feeling that you probably think it's a little bit more on the significant side, but if it's not, you can zag and tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I still feel good about this team, but it does bring more concern or hesitancy to my mind now going into that Florida State game for several reasons. For several reasons. One is simply because in this case, the start of the season, let me give when I'll never forget the first time I ran out and we were playing at home against Memphis. And it's one thing to go on the road. The first game I ever dressed out in a Crimson Tide uniform, but I was really there. They had no intentions of playing me, but a guy got hurt, and it was my freshman year, and we were playing Tennessee. And I ran out, and man, it was loud and it was crazy, but it was different, right? Because I wasn't going to play. I was 100% like in the NFL, isn't it the third? Isn't that the third, like the third team quarterback is like only if the other two guys can't go on the field absolutely at all. I was kind of in that scenario. So the loudness of the crowd really didn't affect me. Fast forward to the next year, Kennington, and I ran out and we were getting ready to play Memphis, and I knew I was going to get reps. Man, it was so different. And this was a friendly crowd. And it like had me like, okay, okay, breathe, you know. It was an unbelievable feeling. I couldn't imagine what it would be like, you know, in a hostile stadium, team coming off of only 2 wins after they felt like you are the team that kept them out of the playoffs the year before when they were good, you know. So there's a lot building in this whole thing. Then you have Gus Malzahn down there. So there's a lot that has built this into probably more of a hype game from their side than what it is from our side.
Absolutely.
Their fan base hates. Go ahead.
This is Mike Norvell coaching for his life.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is a hot seat, program defining game. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. I'm being serious. Like this is a huge moment for Florida State, because if they win this game, all of a sudden Florida State is going to be perceivably back under Mike Norvell. And again, that crowd is going to believe that they have a chance to win early in that game. And we're talking about these 2 young running backs. Maybe Jalen Washington gets an opportunity. Like I said, it goes far beyond the running game. All it takes is for Daniel Hill or Richard Young to miss one pass blocking assignment on that first, second, third drive, whatever the case may be. That could turn into a strip sack. That could turn into maybe a potential injury. There's just so many elements there where you would just like to have a veteran running back in the game.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like it's just something that, you know, fans need to take a little bit more heed to. And not look at it just so much as like, oh, well, you know, Jim Riley, maybe he's reached the ceiling. I'm excited to see these young guys. It's like in a game like this, you need experience, right? If Alabama's opening up against UL Monroe, it's a different story. But at Florida State, you need as many veteran players in the game as you can to get out of there with a win.
Yeah. You know, and Blind Squirrel Sports says, are the other backs as skilled as Jim Miller in pass protection? I've heard he picks up the blitz well. I don't think they are, and that's what we're talking about, Kennington. And it's not just if they're skilled. It's like you have to learn. You have to be almost as smart as the quarterback when you go into stadiums like this in terms of knowing what to do. Because sometimes the noise can be so chaotic that the communication kind of breaks down a little bit. And that was one of my strengths, was I studied the game, and I knew the pass pro myself based on what was called, not just based on the quarterback telling me. And so in this type of environment, that noise can make your brain shut down. And so you're right. I think it's a bigger deal than it could be a bigger deal. The fortunate part, Kennington, the fortunate part is 2 things, and we'll talk about it. I'll let you respond on the other side. 2 things is that they have a couple of weeks to get ready, and they getting ready with the bona fide starting quarterback. So the communication and the relationship is there. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Kennington. Listed out his depth chart. I'll tell you, I think I told you a little bit earlier, I'm not sure that Young is the guy that's going to be in there. And there also could be several reasons for that. We'll talk about it on the other side. Listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. It's a Manic Monday, so we have Kennedy Smith III in on the conversation. We'll get some more audio from Coach in just a moment.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you and happy Monday. Getting off to a nice and quiet start as we typically do. Not seeing any heavy delays on Lurleen Wallace right now at the McFarland intersection. That's running smoothly. Also 2059 wide open and green for go between McFarland and Joe Malisham. And looking good on 15th Street right now. It travels nice and smooth in between McFarland and Lurleen Wallace. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age. making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
Two words come to mind for me. One is responsibility, the other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
When shopping for a new car, you have options. At Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa, they treat their customers like friends and neighbors. Trust them to provide the best advice, pricing, and exceptional customer service. The Mercedes-Benz name is recognized for its quality. You will find an impressive selection of new Mercedes-Benz cars at their dealership. They have over 100 new models in stock, with more than 60 pre-owned vehicles available. Visit them at 3200 Skyland Boulevard East, Tuscaloosa, or check out their inventory online at mercedesoftuscaloosa.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
I forgot to mention that right at the bat. 2 guys that didn't scrimmage today, Jaden and James, same as last week. James is actually starting with him. James has been working through and building up. Feel good about the progress he's had in the week of practice, and with it being live, needed to hold back there, but he's getting closer by the day. Jaden has a concussion, just tell you what it is, and he's going through the protocol of that, and so hasn't done anything from a team standpoint, starting to work back into that protocol, which included being out there today but not participating in the scrimmage.
All right, that's Coach DeBoer, and before we get to that comment, we had the long run with Piano Man asking that question, will James Smith and Jake Roberts be ready for FSU? I think that is mission critical, so I'll tie it in with what we were talking about on the other side of the break. Kennington, is you said I think the Jam Miller injury is huge, okay? I think it's huge because I think Jam was going to be at another level. I really think that he was, you know how we talk about Ty Simpson and the quarterbacks competing? What nobody talked about was that Jam Miller held off Justice Haynes last spring. Okay? Now would he have held off Justice Haynes all season if Justice Haynes had been all in for the Tide last year? I don't know. But he did hold him off all spring. And then he came back this year and went to work. Got bigger, faster, stronger, learned the playbook, grew in his catching. Everything in his game went to the next level.
Yeah, 100.
Go ahead.
I was just saying 100% to what you were saying. That's the thing about the conversation that's kind of frustrating. It's like, passing the reason why, right? It's because he's playing so well. And then on the pass blocking point from the last segment, yes, if a linebacker is running right at Daniel Hill, could he pass block him as good as Daniel. I mean, as good as Dan Miller, probably. But who's going? Can you ID the right guy and block him effectively? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about if somebody's just running right at Daniel Hill or Richard Young, could they stand in front of him and block him as well as Jim Miller? We're talking about, can you ID the right guy properly and step in front of him? That's the pass blocking point we're talking about.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the Daniel Hill is the front guy, okay? You mentioned Richard Young. Richard Young was running fourth team behind Dre Washington. Right now is Hill, Washington, Young, which is crazy to me to think about because I thought Young would be pushing him, Kennington, for the starting position. You know, it's kind of crazy. I don't get it. So, but two things about that though is now you may feel really good that Dre has shown enough that you feel confident to have him third team because I think he will be able. And don't be surprised in that first game if you don't see him have more playing time than even the guy that starts the game. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
no, it definitely does.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think you guys heard the audio from Coach regarding the injury, so I'm going to replay that. So make sure you guys heard it on your side. But the long run with Piano Man asked the question, will James Smith and Jaden Roberts be ready for FSU? Here's what Coach had to say about that and about the injury update here. So let me get that.
We don't want to see homeowners falling through the.
Let me get that piped up for you because I think that's, to your point, I think that's the mission critical point. It's not just that you lost your running back. You also have the guy that, you and I, Kennington, think is the absolute key.
Jaden Roberts, what's his availability right now? Are you anticipating him being ready for week one?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that right off the bat. Two guys that didn't scrimmage today, Jaden and James, same as last week. James is actually starting with him. James has been working through and building up. Feel good about the progress he's had in the week of practice, and with it being live, needed to hold back there, but he's getting closer by the day. Jaden has a concussion, just tell you what it is, and he's going through the protocol of that, and so hasn't done anything from a team standpoint, starting to work back into that protocol, which included being out there today but not participating in the scrimmage.
Respond to that.
Excuse me?
Yeah, go ahead, Kennington. Did you hear it?
That's concerning, right? I think with James Smith, maybe a little bit less concerning because at least concussion protocol has a very there's a structure there, right? Like you have to pass these critical checkpoints. Maybe that's a little less concerning. This Jaden Roberts thing is very concerning. I would probably put that as the number one most concerning injury of all of these things that we're talking about because there is an injury history there with him last couple of years. And DeBoer has said this pretty often throughout, spring going into the fall. The Alabama only have 6 linemen right now that they feel really comfortable about playing. So you lose one of them, now you're down to 5, and all of a sudden you're one injury away from you being in a pretty dire situation. So pretty concerning. Like you said, there's a couple of weeks left. Maybe it'll be all clear by the time we're talking next Monday, but for the here and now, that's concerning to hear.
Yeah, definitely concerning, and I think Jaden. But hopefully, the good part about the concussion is that he can do all of the physical part as far as staying in shape and all of those things.
Yeah.
Because that's where you get concerned in the first game of the year if a guy is out and can't run, can't condition, and all of that. Let's look at these first 2 weeks as preseason. If Jaden gets released this week, then we still got a couple weeks to work him back in. The positive is, if you want to try to find a silver lining in it, Kennington, is that you have a guy who started a lot of games either way in his spot. And that also means that you've created some depth because whoever was the third team guard has gotten a lot of reps because Vandermark has been playing with the first team, which gives the next guy, Michael Carroll, I think, has been the guy getting the most reps there. Let me address something. Coach Smoot Network he's telling me the depth chart stands as Young, Hill, Washington, and Deer. I heard that, but the source that I got my information from was pretty clear. And I'm not going to dog the young man, but there was something about Young that was said that when I got my source is pretty good. So we'll see. I hope Young. Don't get me wrong. I'm not pulling for Young not to be the guy. I thought he would be the guy that would push Jam Miller. Okay, I was thinking he would be in front of Hill. So you can say it's just for the second. It was just for the second scrimmage. Why do you have him in there at the second scrimmage? Is Young hurt? Right, Kennington. When you go into a scrimmage, and the second scrimmage of the camp is always about where your depth is going to be. Like, especially if you have your starters, you're looking at what's the next level of guys can I get reps for? So going into that scrimmage, did Washington get bumped up, Kennington? I don't know. And the question is, the person that told me came out, they sent me and they said, because I said, hey, what's up with Young? Is he ready? And they were like, no. The next guy up, he Young has not taken advantage of his opportunity. That's just what I was told. So we'll see. Hopefully, either way, personally, Martin would prefer that it would be Young and Washington from an experience standpoint, Kennington. But Smoot has a pretty good connection out there, so maybe he has some insight that I don't have. But either way, Alabama running back room, it was a big hit to lose Jam. Right, no other way around it. Totally changes my comfort about a lot of things about that particular game. Hey, we're going to go ahead and blow through this break, wrap things up a little early on the other side, Kennington. In terms of the running back room, the rest of the scrimmage, did you hear? Now, I do believe that this was a get your attention type of moment, and maybe that's what they were doing with maybe the Washington Young thing was a get his attention type of move on the depth chart. I know coaches do that, and sometimes that costs the guy's job. I don't think that's the case here, but did you hear who one of the starting cornerbacks was? Dijon Lee. Yeah. But I do think that was the money. Just because you're the starter don't mean it's your job. You have to come out and perform. So do you think that's what that was?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just just kind of letting them know that just don't get too comfortable, right? Like, I think that's just something that, again, just is something that the Bush is trying to instill, a spirit of competition and always just kind of wanting to get better and always wanting to just kind of like strive and not be complacent. So I think it's just kind of one of those things. But I think also, it's just a testament to Dijon Lee that he was able to get that type of opportunity, right? Like, I don't get the sense that DeBoer did that just to make a move, right? I think Dijon Lee earned that opportunity and, put him in there as a result. So I think it's kind of like a double-edged meaning, but it's good news for Alabama secondary for sure.
Yeah, that was my response when I was told. I did not go to the scrimmage, but when I was told that Dijon started at cornerback, my first response was, man, I wish Cam Coleman was coming along a little bit better. And before I said it, the person responded back to me and said, oh, no. It was for Jackson, but I think it was to get his attention. And I agree with that. But my immediate response was, whew, I'm glad that they feel like there's enough depth at that position that they would do something like that. Absolutely. Hey, one of my concerns going into the second scrimmage was how would Ty respond to being the starter? Here's what Coach had to say about that in terms of Ty and his response to being the starter. How did he do? You know, because sometimes you give a guy the position and they don't respond well. Here's what Coach had to say.
Since I've seen you guys, yeah, you know, we knew we were at that point where we felt good about, you know, who should be the starter, and it just made sense after the scrimmage when you evaluated kind of the whole product he's put on the football field. You know, all the quarterbacks I thought came out there again today and did a great job, and that was the same thing as last scrimmage. And I guess specifically Ty, as you asked today, I thought he came out and executed the offense. You know, just continues to be steady. Finds his times to make the plays. And, you know, today he actually used his feet again. And that's, I think, something that people will probably underestimate as we go through the year, just with his ability to make plays and keep plays alive. But
yeah, Coach, I mean, Kennington, when you look at what Coach had to say there, you have to listen to what he's saying there. He quickly said what? Talked about the three quarterbacks, how they all responded. But then he talks about Ty, and he throws another element of Ty's game in there, respond.
Yeah, the run game. And the more I think about Ty Simpson and this team and this offense and how he can fit in, somebody that I'm thinking about, you know, that he could be, if we're talking about like last year, like could Ty Simpson be like Will Howard from Ohio State, right? Could he make the necessary plays? Could he use his legs when necessary? Can he just lead the team, get the ball to the playmakers, and ultimately, you know, lead out to being a late round pick? But, you know, he doesn't have to do anything spectacular. He doesn't have to be a Heisman finalist. Can he just be, you know, solid? Can he make plays with his legs? Can he do what he needs to do? Can he protect the football and get Alabama to where they need to be? And it sounds like he's kind of doing those things. Maybe Ty Simpson has a little bit of higher ceiling than Will Howard. He was a five-star. Will Howard's been recruited, et cetera. But that's just kind of what I'm thinking about with Ty Simpson. Can he be something like that could just kind of help Alabama's offense stay on schedule and then make plays when he needs to? And if he can do that, then Alabama's going to be really dangerous.
Yeah, and I think he can do more. I literally think that Alabama needs him to be a game manager who doesn't lose games and then makes plays when he has to. But I also think the guy, when I heard Coach say that, I wrote down playmaker, and then Coach said, I think that's going to be a part of his game that everybody underestimates. And the most dangerous guy is the guy who's underestimated, who's a big-time athlete. And I think we're underestimated. We forget Ty Simpson was the number one rated dual threat guy coming out, correct?
Yeah.
He was the number 4 overall quarterback. He was the number 4.
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know if we're underestimating him, like within the Alabama circle, maybe on a national level. But like, whenever I think about Ty Simpson's legs, like, yeah, like people. I don't think people outside the Alabama sphere remember that 80-yard almost touchdown that Ty Simpson had in garbage time a couple of years ago.
Right.
Like, and I know it was an FCS team, but like, how many quarterbacks are taking a run 80 yards to the house regardless of the opponent? And like,
not many,
right.
not many.
So, and then the play last year against Mercer, he like escapes the sack, he throws it deep. Like, I think that we have seen that athleticism. I think you're right on a national level. Probably a little bit underrated, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ty broke some long runs this year for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. And the part that you have to understand is how he uses his legs. And I made the analysis to Joe Burrow in a comparison. Not that he's going to have a Heisman season like Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow doesn't run a lot. But Joe Burrow is a really good athlete who hurts you with his legs in the most critical moments for his team. I think that's what Ty brings to the table. Closing thoughts on the scrimmage, man, and Alabama as they are 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that Alabama only has a handful of injuries. Seems like the depth chart is shaping up well. I think the running back thing will be interesting. It's almost like the competition has reopened right before the season starts. So I feel like that's the most important thing that we'll be centering in on. But for the most part, it looks like Alabama's in a good spot.
Hey, and don't be surprised if AK Deer doesn't jump up in here and start making some noise. He's been mentioned by the coach without being asked about, and that's always a good thing for a freshman. I do think it's a reopen of the competition, Kennington, and it'll be fun to watch. And hey, if I'm wrong about Hill, I won't eat crow. I'll just say that I'm gonna tell my source he's bad information. But I think it's right now up for grabs, and we'll see who grabs it. But hopefully they solidify the next 2 weeks, 1, 2, and 3 in terms of the running back room. Hope Jam has a speedy recovery. Hope Jaden Roberts gets back on the field, and James Smith has started that journey. We'll break that down tomorrow as X will be joining the program again tomorrow. That's Kenneth Smith III. Find him at Skinny Kenny _ Roll Tide, everybody. And remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
What's your pleasure?
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.